Hello and welcome to session 4 of Business in Lahles in the homebrew world of Elista. How was each of your weeks? Or 2 weeks since we had last week off.
Mine were very long. I started a new job. That's why I couldn't play last week.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah. I've not done anything but work and sleep the last 2 weeks. So,
Well, that sounds kind of boring, but also kind of nice.
I guess so. But that's my weeks.
What about the rest of you?
Yeah, work's been insane. Been working late every day. But looking forward to game night.
I binged Umbrella Academy
a
F
good
yeah,
show.
buddy.
Good choices.
in the 2 weeks since we last played.
I was gonna say, was
Awesome.
it both seasons or just the second?
both
Hell
seasons.
yeah!
I hadn't seen any of it
Attaboy.
until then.
Oh, we had discussed in last time. What do you consider the best season? Season 1 or season 2?
Season 1.
Season 1
I-
for me.
I prefer season 2 mostly because of season 2 Klaus.
Yeah,
I get
That
I
is a
get
good,
that.
good point. I like
a good
the
one.
just like the writing and like how it was all kind of like plotted out for session or not for session 1 but season 1.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And I think 5 is just amazing in season 1 compared to season 2.
I
Although
actually liked him more in season 2, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
A lot. The first coffee scene when he gets like, is the best scene in the entire show, in my opinion. Well, like he's mistaken for a kid, which he actually is.
Yeah.
I mean, they're really good all around it. Just like the callbacks to everything wild that's happened. I feel like every scene is just all right. How can we get the most wild thing or the most wild plot hook to somehow be involved with this story? Like they just decide to take every comic out there and just kind of crash it into the same one, so that
Yeah, it's
every
true.
trope,
Yeah.
every plot hook is just hiding somewhere in there.
although I experienced something that I've started to see pop up recently that I'm going to call meme-based spoilers. So that one meme from season 2 where it's Vanya looking at 5 from 2 different cars.
Yeah.
So
Those are the
being aware of that meme before watching the show, you can kind of tell certain things are and are not going to happen before you get to that point in the show.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's just an interesting
Right,
observation.
right. When you're in the like the first episode and everything's gone to shit. It's, I mean, you obviously know. All right, well, at least that has to happen.
Right. Since I haven't seen it yet, right?
I really liked
Real
the realize.
quick, Michael and Erica,
Yeah.
how was your guys' week? So
extremely
we don't go
busy.
too off the path here.
Extremely busy for both of us. Very hectic.
It was great, and I was having some great therapy talking about Umbrella Academy. Welcome to the Umbrella Academy stream, where we talk Umbrella Academy all day, all the time. Kidding, of course. There's very important in character things to do, like leveling up, perhaps.
Probably
Huh?
not.
Oh.
But I'll go ahead
Wish-
and give our recap and our narrative from last session before we jump into the game. It was 2 weeks ago since we played, so it was nice to be able to have this on like a VOD and a nice refresher. So, last we began, as each of you discovered the vampire you seeked is actually just 2 goblins who are twins playing a prank. Once uncovering a hatch underneath the sarcophagus, you all quickly make your way down, with Krev taking the lead as a direwolf. This is when you came face to face with some creatures, half human and half snake. Trace quickly pulls back an arrow, releasing for a solid connection, and a fight takes place. Noticing that these creatures seem phased very little with what each of you are doing, you all began to move back and make your retreat. making your way up the ladder and back into the sewers from which you came. Running in fear, you exit the sewers as quickly as possible, but not before Kadir attempts to take out the ladder with little success. As you all exit the sewers with muck and sludge on your boots, all except Kadir, as he is conversating with the rest of the group, see the familiar goblin twins heading towards you with an older human male following. The elegant, well-spoken man introduces himself as Renus, as he stands before you with very noticeable multicolored clothing. As you began to inform Renus about the issue in the sewers, he suggests closing the sewer hatch and then seals it farther with some sort of magic. Then, as you continue to explain what you all have seen, he relays the matching description to what you all describe as Yanti. Renus then ushers you along to his tower, the Whispers of Life Tower. Once inside the tower, you notice a vast amount of books and a spiral staircase leading up to the second floor in the center of the cylindrical building. Renus gives you all some royal treatment, showering you all with gifts, food, drinks, and a safe place to lay your heads for the night. But before making your way to each of your rooms, you engage in a long conversation with Renus, going over what each of you had seen in the sewers, which seemed to bring a concerned tone to his voice as he grew more and more worried. Learning about each other, sharing stories over a meal, you all find yourselves very satisfied, full, and growing a bit sleepy. As you all retire to your individual rooms, Kadir and Onyx Onyx attempts to establish some sort of open-ended pact with Kadir in private. While Trace sits in his room, he begins to feel as if something is watching him. Trace calls out to the ceiling, casting light, and he feels the lingering eyes fade. It's getting late in the night, still on April 1st, nearing 11 p.m. So you all are still in the Whispers of Life Tower. Have made your way back to your individual rooms, I'm sure, by now. But we had called it right at the end of that. I wasn't sure if there was anything else that you guys wanted to do before getting your rest for the evening.
Yeah, I'll get my evening rest, and I'll spend some time reading my new book. I think you have to sleep for 6 of the hours of a long rest, something akin to that.
Yes, just each night is a short rest until 7 days in consecutive.
Unless you're an elf, then you're just awesome.
Yeah, then you're fine. But will you give me a let's do investigation check there, Kadir, as you're looking over your book.
Double 14s.
So as you look over the cover, I've PM'd you your book title, but you'll see that it says Entering the Past to Unlock Power. And as you flip it open, you'll see that there is a little scribbled note, and it seems to have faded a little over time. And you'll see to Renus, one of my most treasured possessions, to a long-enduring friend and a person I consider a brother, Bragdargrin.
Interesting. I guess they're close. Now he's the leader of the Corn Silk Rats, right? The Ragnar?
Bragdargrin, yes, he's the leader of the Corn Silk Rat.
All right. Okay, and he's an old wizardly man, if I recall. Kind of like Renus.
I don't think any of you have actually met Bragdar yet.
I could have swore we haven't met him, but I could have swore he was described to us. maybe I might be misremembering. Anyhow, yeah, I'll go to sleep then.
Seeing as Trace is kind of paranoid, he's going to, like, he's an elf, so he doesn't sleep, right? He just meditates. But he's going to, like, spend at least 2 hours going through that room, making sure there's no one watching.
Yeah, nothing's around. As you like kind of take a look around there, Trace.
Well, I sit in front of the door, and I, like, when I start my trance, I look at the door the entire night. And then I sleep or meditate.
All right. Anybody else?
I just find a comfortable dresser to sleep in. As a halfling.
Yeah. I always forget.
Rekid needs that beauty sleep because of that thorough envenoming he went through. Although he did get some health from that, I think it was a potion or something that our host gave him.
Sounds about right.
Correct.
I will be sleeping, but I'll be sleeping over the covers. I'm not getting in that bed. I'm not getting into a bed. Like, I'm going to be sleeping on it specifically. No mimics for me.
Are blacklights a thing in 5th edition?
They can be if you try hard enough.
Yeah. Sleeping on all the bodily fluids.
Well, you all can get your rest for the night and proceed to the next morning. If any of you need to roll some hit dice after getting your short rest, then do so now.
But didn't we need a long rest?
Nope, this is just a short rest.
Yeah, well, I was asking my
Or
party.
7 days, yeah.
Didn't we need that? I thought that someone was out of spell slots, etc.
I get my spells back on short rest.
Yeah, I know.
Why did
That's
you sound so disheartened?
Makes warlocks even more overpowered,
I disagree with that, but I don't know. Call me greedy.
I don't know if we were planning on long resting or not. I think we were just staying the night. But
well, I mean, you're one of the people that need to recover spell slots. That's probably why.
I mean, I
should
am, yes, but I mean, I've expended one of my 3 spell slots, so I don't know how you want to. Weren't we actually going to stay here and read up in the library?
I think we need to take a long rest. Also,
yeah, I think that was the idea. We were going to long rest and stay and check out the library, right?
No, I didn't want to.
No, but I mean, I don't have any spell slots left, right? So I'm going to be useless in combat.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you're the only person that gets their stuff back on short rest.
I didn't know that you guys were burnt out.
I mean, I'm not burnt out, but
yeah, I used to.
Why don't you guys role play that out? Like when everyone wakes up in the morning, you can wake up for breakfast, meet up with Renus and his 2 apprentices, and then figure out what to do from there.
All right. I guess I. All right. So yeah, I'll show up. I'll show up at the table with book in hand. Nose already buried in it.
Ah, good morning, Kadir. You rise pretty early.
Well, yes. I must say, I'm quite enthralled. Your friend Ragdar, he He must be a kind fellow, yes?
Kind, just, and just the sort of leader that we need for the time that the world finds itself in. Everyone's split, off in their own world, you could say. Bragdar's trying to unite them, make Elista strong for everybody.
Perhaps I am ignorant of politics, but, well, times here seem idyllic enough. I mean, 1T hiding out under the city aside, of course.
I find that to be a not so much of a coincidence, but from my research, long, long ago in the Empty Tide Sea, used to be a prominent temple for the Auntie, but it had disappeared hundreds of years ago. But you know how most books are. Perspective from the author's point of view always seems to get twisted.
Ah, yes. History is just a point of view, of course.
History is the point of the view of the victors.
Or merely whoever is left. I suppose you could call them victors, though. Surviving the harrowing aspects of life. That is a victory, I'm sure.
Well, where are the rest of
Even-
your companions? The tea and everything is going to get cold if they don't come down soon.
Trace is waiting for his morning rabbit. Trace comes down to the desk and says, "Morning."
Ah, yes. Good morning, friends.
He nods.
You guys hear a you hear, let me out! Let me out! Who shut me in here?
I must admit, I believe I am the most easily woken amongst my compatriots. Are you so used to having guests, Renius?
Just those two. You'll see, like, the goblins kind of just, like, scarfing down some porridge and just... And then when they look up, they'll give you a smile, and you can see, like, all of their teeth are filed to, like, points. Some of the fangs longer than others, and you can see that they've got, like, bits and pieces of, like, oat and berries kind of, like, stuck in their teeth.
Well, at least we can tell that they are finally taken care of. And I'll bend over to one of the goblins. So tell me, what is it you have planned for today?
We trained today, right, Renus? No. That's going to need to be postponed till tomorrow. I need to go speak to Bradgar as soon as I know that he's awake. Lazy bastard.
Now, why would you go and do that this early? What would you have to talk to Ragnar about? Something of importance, perhaps?
Oh, yes, in fact, the news that you all informed me of last night, and if the Yonti are spreading through the sewers by chance, then we need to attempt to seal the sewer hatches as quickly as possible. And
How
then
long have you
further
lived
discuss.
here?
What is it now? 21 years?
My. You're quite old. Well seasoned, I suppose, as well. You seem very educated. I like it.
Seasoned is how I prefer to look at it. No,
Yes,
with knowledge
Sorry.
comes power. But
Indeed.
knowledge only comes in time.
I suppose that is the diplomatic way to put it, Onyx.
Hmm.
I very much would like to meet Ragnar.
I would as well.
Perhaps
We go together.
perhaps we may have something that we may share with him.
If you don't
Of
mind
the-
us
Of
accompanying
the
you.
dungeons down below, that is.
Well, we could always accompany him, you know. I'm sure he wouldn't mind, would you?
Well, the only thing that I would ask is that you kept our little issue with our friends over there to ourselves.
Why, of course.
I would consider them with as kind as you have been to us, consider them kin.
Where's the older one and the tiny one?
The tiny one. Oh, I don't
Yeah.
know.
What is
Can
that?
we-
Do you all hear something?
Ah, yes, I do. I'll be right back. I'll go get him out of the dresser. I walk to his room and I open the
He's-
dresser and attempt to let him out.
What
Hopefully
can
he
I
doesn't hit
say?
me.
Smaller world, bigger trouble.
Come now. Get out of that dresser. What do you think you're doing? We have to go eat breakfast. We're going to be late.
Rolls
What's
him
wrong with
down
you?
stairs.
The damn maid shut me in the dresser.
Of
She
course she
closed it.
did. You look like a tiny bear in there. She probably thought you were a toy. You're lucky she didn't take you out and play with you. Come on, let's go.
Been a little more fun if she did.
Oof.
Ah, you types and your humor. I like it. Let's go. You want some help?
I got it. Hops down.
I knew you had it in you.
I'll shout out. I believe the dresser had him in it.
Could we say Rekid comes in from outside around this point?
No. For one particular reason, which Renus was going to share with you momentarily.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Then Rekid comes downstairs. Good morning, compatriots. What a wonderful night's sleep. I hope the rest of you are feeling similarly rested.
Very much so. Sips tea.
Does these old bones good?
Morning, Rabbit?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
Trace
let's
says.
get you that morning rabbit.
Well,
As like Renus kind of goes off into the kitchen to start grabbing some extra plates for each of you, he'll
Only
just
fruit. Only fruit this time. No meat. Don't put meat on my
There you
plate.
go.
Only fruit. Or give him
Trace,
money.
Trace raises his hand. Rabbit.
Someone get this man a rabbit. What is wrong with you?
I'll,
We have things to do today.
I mean, I'll try to step into the kitchen to help him out.
Sure. Go help him. Be a
So
good
just
steward.
so how much can we do doing a long rest?
well, I mean that's kind of like up to you guys. Like one of the major or two major things is I would include in that like no travel, since transversing can prove to be quite exhausting, and no combat.
So then we wouldn't be able to go meet Ragnar?
What about inner city travel?
Yeah, like
Not-
no,
Yeah,
like
going
inside
around
the
town.
city is fine, but like if you guys were to go to like Lahles to Goldshire for an example, then
Oh no.
On the road, hard travel.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back to Goldshire anytime soon.
All right, got it.
Tastes
Well,
terrible.
anyways, when everyone joins the table, Trace says, "Week here," and continues eating.
I think he wants to stay a week here.
Oh yeah.
Oh wait,
so
you
I
in
was
the
going,
kitchen.
going
Time to
to
read
ask
these
you
books.
all, did you all plan on staying here for a bit more time? It would
Well,
be able to solidify what I need to do with the guild first and making sure that the city's protected. And then also, Kadir, I could take some of that time to look over your lamp.
We also wouldn't want to put you out, of course. If you can accommodate us, I will chip in for the food, especially my fruit. I do love good fruit. And please, don't put any more meat on my plate. But
Well,
I would like to stay if you'd like us to stay.
we would be honored to be your guests, Renus, and I'll give a slight bow to him.
Well, that is one, I guess, hitch to that. You see, if the door isn't opened by myself or, these goblins prove themselves, then you'll find it quite difficult. You see, very little humans and creatures find themselves pure at heart and always looking to do good for others. So, those not pure at heart and free of sin will be unable to gain the knowledge within these walls.
Well,
So,
I'm quite free from sin. For now.
Then I must admit, I mean, for your goblins to be, for your boys, rather, to be free of sin, it is unsurprising, I suppose, but for a man of your
Caliber?
experience, that is a little more surprising.
I don't think so. He's quite distinguished.
well, I don't believe knowledge to be held to just one in particular individual, but I do also grow weary of those with evil intentions to have such power as well. So, willing to share that of what I know with people who have good intentions.
Well, I do have a question, in game or out of game. How long is it until the tournament?
You guys would have 2 months from when you guys were starting, which was, I believe, March 27th. I would have to go back and look at the starting date notes. But it would be May 27th, if I'm not mistaken.
Well,
And what's it now?
April 2nd.
Oh, it's my birthday. Sorry.
It's always your birthday.
would
So it's been a week, basically.
Hmm.
7 weeks to go.
Well, that's not that much when you think about the way long rests work. We should probably plan out how we're going to do it.
Mm-hmm. Well, how much stronger do we need to get for this tournament? Do we know?
none whatsoever. That's roughly why. That's roughly why I would like to keep at our adventuring life, so we could make sure we are hardened enough for when the trials reach us.
If I may
we could-
intervene.
Yes, of course.
Well, you all seem, we'll say, at least moderately intelligent. Some probably a little bit more than the others. But you didn't just grab one tab from the guild, which I do presume is how you stumbled upon your vampire over there. And the goblins will go,
So you suggest we go do the ones we haven't yet?
well, when I go to speak to Bradgar, I do plan on putting in a good word for each of you. And with that, and if you were to fulfill a small quest for the guild, I don't see why you wouldn't each be instated as guild members quicker. Why necessarily wait till the tournament?
That missing dog thing is sounding a lot better right now.
Yes, we should probably.
Yes. I mean,
Hold on. You
Look
had
into
the
that.
chance to go find a missing dog and instead chose the path to find a vampire.
well, I
You
suppose
all
you
are a
could say
dangerous
that.
lot. I like it.
What can I say? Curiosity killed the Kadir.
These hands are made for punching.
And that's just what they'll do. One day these fists are gonna whop all over you.
They're made for
Love it.
fisting.
Oh no. Ah,
There it is.
that went from wholesome into the ground really quick.
Yeah, just saying, that's
What do you
kind of how
expect?
we
I'm
ended the
winning.
last stream, anyways.
Yeah.
Fisting?
Wholesome.
Yes.
All right. Well, I understand that you all are tired, but I mean,
I think
finding a
we'd.
dog, how hard can this be? Yes?
Only thing is, we'd have to travel to go do this, so we're not getting, days towards long rest.
That would be the assumption, yes.
Long rest, then we go do stuff, in my opinion. Rest, then dog. Trace says.
So, if we do stay here, I would assume what we would do is research, right? You know,
Yeah.
I know we were going to look into the, well, you were going to study common, and I was looking at maybe studying these yuan tea, as well as more beast shapes for my druid powers. But
Yes.
we know very little about these yuan tea. Knowledge is
Well-
power. Knowing their enemy is important, but
Well, I suppose we have two options then. We could either vote, or we could either vote, or we could vote, we could separate, or we could just cede and offer to go with one another's decision. If well, I suppose the first option I would toss out there is a vote.
I like voting.
I would prefer to go. I would prefer to go and attempt the smaller quests that should be less dangerous than our 1T mysteries.
I would think that that's very feasible. At some point, we're going to need to take that week-long rest, though. Whether it's now or later, I mean, it's up to you guys.
I think we should take a long rest, personally. I'm very useless without my spells.
I thought
The
you
rangers
shoot
outline.
your bow. Do you need those spells?
Yeah, it's half damage though without Hunter's Mark and so on.
No.
quite a
Well, I
lot.
mean, I don't think this quest will need use of that, really. I mean, we're looking for a lost dog. We're not hunting a vampire.
What if the dog was taken by a vampire lord?
Yeah.
I think we should do both. Because technically, as per the DM, out of game, long rest, we can go do things in the
As long as
intercity.
there's no battle.
Yes. I don't suspect there'll be a battle, but,
But
you know.
it sounds like this is going to involve travel outside of the city to
Yeah.
find the dog. So,
Not necessarily.
where do we need to go for this? Can we pull up the token again and see where it is we need to be?
Venus will offer to take a look at the white tab for you.
I mean, is it local where we wouldn't have to worry about burning our, days counting towards long rest days?
Hmm. A charming child named Wena seeks a company of adventurers to find her lost puppy. Well, the only child I know named Wena that would have enough money to be able to pay for the guild services is uh, Malcolm the Kind's daughter, Mr. Cornwell. Is sort of the head figure and face of Wales, the people's governor, if you will.
Hmm. So that's here in Wales.
Mm. Well, any that would be dumb enough to steal from that family would probably leave the city as quickly as possible. I do
Hmm.
know of there to be a underground animal trader, if you will, in Whitebridge. If I had to guess, that's probably where they would have went.
Do we know this pet was stolen or if it just got lost?
This is my assumption.
Hmm.
Usually, these things don't always seem to be as they appear, as you have noticed with the vampire. I mean, as
I
a
mean,
smart girl, she's not just some dim-witted child. She wouldn't have just replaced or misplaced her puppy anywhere.
Trey speaks up in Elvish and says, I mean, all these tasks, they seem dangerous, all of them. Because, I mean, why would you hire the guild to do a simple task of finding a dog? There must be more behind it than a simple, like, lost dog, in my opinion.
All right. So, I mean, to be perfectly honest, I'll change my mind. If you would if you would prefer to stay here and rest, then you won't find any more resistance from me. I will not hesitate to bury myself in my book.
I would say we just need to be a little more careful when we use spells. If if you know,
Yeah, it's only you
not
and I,
every
Griff.
fight.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we're going to be resting for a week. You know,
Yep.
every time we go out, and that's not feasible if we're going to be strong enough for this tournament.
I
We're
am
gonna-
inclined to agree that we should be more careful next time.
Yes, let's not burn through our spells.
Might not have a choice, though, I say in Elvish.
Oh no, of course, but if we're fighting, you know, not so threatening monsters, might not need to
Wait, do you know
use
Elvish
the
Graf?
spells. Oh no, sorry.
Checkmate.
Gotem.com.
All right, well then we didn't understand what you said.
No,
so
just
then-
that last part.
I did.
Yeah.
I understood him. And he said, wait, do you understand Elvish as well?
I do not.
Ah. So wait, is it only me? Or does
I
Reggie
think you
think
might
so.
have.
Yeah, that's,
Ooh.
I think that's the bond that you two have.
Just you.
Rekid knows Elvish as well.
Okay.
Ah, there we are.
I was
There
gonna
you go.
say, I thought there was a specific reason they were always speaking in Elvish together, but anyways,
Yes, I suppose we will just stay here the week then.
Wise, I say in common.
All right, so what are we going to study? Or, I mean, don't have to study, I guess, but might be useful to learn something in the library.
Well, Trace is going to say common, so instance, so he can't do anything else. I mean, he's going to spend 16 hours a day doing that. That's for sure.
Well,
So how does
let me
how
ask
does
you
the
guys this: are you gonna go with Renus to? Well, I'll just RP it since I asked you guys to do the same thing. Well, before I head out, did you all wish to come with me to meet Bragdar and introduce yourselves?
I would.
I
Sure.
would.
Sounds like a plan.
Trace thinks for a moment. Really? Hmm. I join.
We would be inclined to meet Ragnar. I'm sure he's a very interesting fellow.
This.
Yes, Renus will turn to the goblins and say, "You two will be staying here for the day. I will return this evening. Unless you all wish to be let in sooner than that, then I can
I-
escort you back here immediately."
I put down my my glass of snake and like put it on the table, and then I like do the thing with the like when you point the fingers at your eyes, and then at the goblins, like making sure that my snake is watching the goblin.
It'll just like look at you kind of blankly and then like flick its tongue.
Nice. And I follow.
Yes. So as you all exit, he will point out uh, um, the words from what he was telling you guys before about how to enter, being pure of heart, which you see over the arc of the door. But it does have a few words missing, and he'll then cast a light upon like his quarterstaff on like the tip and on the top of it, and then hold it up, and then you'll see like the words kind of like begin to fade into existence as the light goes over it, and he'll say, "This is how you reveal the riddle if you were to ever forget, or if I'm not here. Understood?"
He just moved his quarterstaff over the what?
Over
Sorry?
like the arc of the door, and then it kind of like reveals the missing words of the puzzle.
As soon as it fades again, I'm going to try to just move my hand and see if it reveals that way.
If you put your hand over the arc and kind of try to like wave it over in the same manner, nothing appears.
Staff? I'll look at him.
Light. You must cast light upon it.
Ah, I thought it was a staff. I say novice.
And-
I cast light. I cast light on my dagger and then wave the dagger over there.
And the words appear. And then he'll kind of
Nice.
take the quarterstaff in front of his mouth and pretend to like kind of blow out the light cast upon the tip of the quarterstaff.
I do the same thing with my dagger. I blow up my dagger, and then I wave it, and then all of a sudden the light disappears. Magic.
Follow along.
Yep.
And I am gonna copy paste the riddle for you guys in the Discord channel.
Cool.
I go up next to Onyx and say in Elvish. I'm not the oldest elf in the world, right? But in general, I mean, who is really free of sin?
No one.
Exactly. That's a little strange to me.
I think there's more to him than we see.
I agree. And honestly, right, when I went into my trance last night, I felt like someone was watching me.
What do you mean, watching him?
I mean, not to brag or anything, but I have a good eye on me, right? I tend to notice most things, and
Right.
like when I was trying to like get rest last night, I just felt uneasy. Like I was so sure something was watching me.
Oh my. That's
Yeah.
not good. Where were they watching you from? What do you know?
The thing is, I was in my room, right? So I was like surrounded by walls, but I mean, it could be something magic. That's the feeling I got.
Or perhaps I have seen in other lands where people have peepholes in their walls to watch people while they sleep and watch them do other things. Perhaps it's one of those.
Ooh, I will check that tonight. That's a good idea. Thank you.
It really is. Be quite
It's kind of
careful.
perverted, though, isn't it?
It can be. I mean, he could have been perhaps just checking you out, making sure that you are free from sin, per se.
I am a good-looking elf. I'll give him that.
Ah, well, shall we be going? We
Yes,
don't want to keep them waiting.
indeed.
So what's your insight check for there, Kadir?
I was an act misclick.
Mm-hmm. Likely story.
How do I misclick that?
Yeah, right? Insight. So as you make your way to the guild, you'll be met with those familiar gigantic double doors that exceeded like any size needed for a normal person, which are open, and a few guards stand outside giving you hearty hellos as you all approach. And then Renus goes directly to the stairs where two guards stand, and he says to both of them, "These are with me, my guest. I have an appointment with Bradgar this morning." And they'll give him like a little salute and then kind of step out of the way. He'll turn back to you guys, looking at each of you and say, "Please, come along." And you all can head upstairs, heading down a hallway which is lit with torches, and you can see closed doors parallel from each other on each side, and then eventually making your way down to the end of the hall where another closed door with steel brackets lays in a vertical manner. He then knocks on the door with the quarterstaff, and you hear a voice from within. "Who is it?" "Oh, Bragdar, it's me, Renus." "Ah, come in, come in." Renus will open the door, and you all can make your way in. Say, first, please let me introduce my friends that I've met quite recently. They all have aspiring ambitions to be a part of the Corn Silk Rat. Well, what are your names?
I'm Kadir. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, sir.
I'm Krev.
Trace.
Reckon.
And I am Onyx Vasarak. Pleased to make your acquaintance, sir. I've heard quite a lot about you. And you are quite the man, I see.
Oh, yes, well, reputation does proceed uh, and grow with each tale and story and from each passing mouth. But standing before you, you see a decently tall individual standing about 6'4" with red hair and large green eyes. He's wearing some very nicely made clothing and carrying a fine silver stiletto kind of tucked into his waistband. You can kind of see like a light, a slight hue coming from it of a little bit of a greenish and red color. He seems to be a very well-established man, um, and looks to establish, as said before, Lahles to be like the best it can be and bring the world to peace. So, well, any friends of Renus's got to be quite unique and interesting individuals. Would be glad to say a friend of mine as well. Renus will say, yes, well, they were actually, and then kind of gives like a little out of the corner of his eye look to the rest of you. a quest for the guild. They had uncovered a secret entranceway of some sort, and from their descriptions, I believe them to have found some Yuan tea. No one's seen any of those creatures for hundreds of years. My great grandfather was said to have slayed the last one and sunk the city. Well, if what they say is true, then it seems that that story may have some holes.
Yes, some very literal holes which are in the sewers, hiding out of sight, I must add. There was a manner of a grandiose sepulchre with all manner of graven fountains, and beneath it there was a hidden passage leading to these abominations. Reminds me of home.
Anything else? Any details can help.
They knew they sent out some. I could hear them speak. I understood them. Uh, I believe they mentioned a brood mother, did they not? And that they were attempting to scout for her. If I were to guess, they were looking for a way out, though I would not pretend to know why they. Though I would not pretend to know how they survived down there for so long.
When we climbed down that, was it a well, Kyle?
Sorry, I was coughing. What'd you say, bud?
What was it, a well we climbed down?
Like a sewer hole.
I mean, did I notice anything like? Did it seem old? Like, there was like a ladder, right?
Yes.
Tree ladder.
It was wood. Yes.
And it, I don't know if my character can remember this, but it seemed like a fairly, like a good ladder, right? It wasn't like was an old one.
Correct. I want to say 99% sure when I reviewed the VOD yesterday that Kadir did relay the fact that he had attacked the ladder, which is why I included it in the narrative.
Right. True. Anyways, Trey speaks up in Elvis again here and says, honestly, if I think about it, I think those UNT, they haven't been down there long. I mean, there was a reasonable new ladder and everything. It doesn't seem like they've been down there for that long. They must have come from somewhere else.
And just to say real quick, like Kadir, I could be wrong about that information because there was a lot of back and forth that I wasn't sure if it was in game or out of game when you guys were talking. Just by
No,
the way.
I mean it was. I mean, everyone should have seen me try to destroy it, so
Yeah.
I'm sure it's common knowledge.
Unless there's a different entrance, Trey says again, Elvis.
That's actually quite an interesting point. They seem to almost be planning something, if that is the case.
At the very least, they had attempted to break out prior. Our releasing them was extremely unfortunate.
Yes. Perhaps you could have hastened their plans. Renus, as a trusted friend and advisor, what do you propose that we do? My only guess is to seal the sewers, but in time they will need to be released and prevent any flooding through the city. Or in case there is any collapse in the sewers, we must be able to get down there.
Is it possible we could divert the, water, create new trenches?
I
mean,
don't
that-
think the Hyanti to be too dissuaded by water.
No. I mean, rather than reopening the sealed, sewer holes, divert water. If you're worried about water draining off into the sewers from rain and whatnot.
Well, there may be another way to think of this, perhaps as an opportunity. The One T are an ancient race. No doubt they have their secrets, their treasures, their knowledges kept therein, items from ages gone, of archaeological and perhaps even personal value.
To be honest, we may be even too late. They may have all escaped already.
Trace again speaks up, this time in common, and says 2 words. Map, sewer?
Yes, we do have some.
Sure.
He'll begin to rummage through some of the shelves and papers that are parchment that he has behind him, and eventually pulling out like 4 rolled up pieces of parchment, and then kind of unravel them, placing them on the desk and pinning down the corners so it stays flat with some candles and heavier objects on the desk. And
I mean, there could be many, but Trace is going to try to mark all the exits from the sewers.
like the
And-
sewer runoffs, or like
The
where the
runoffs,
hatches
the
are.
the runoffs, yeah.
So you'll see that all of the runoffs are actually going towards the empty tide sea, which is just to the southwest of town.
And, well, Trace points out those exits and says, Scout? And looks at Kadia, mostly.
Are you saying we should scout?
Trace nods.
I would be amiable to such a venture. We could perhaps look around the docks and see what the One T are up to. In the meantime, you may want to send somebody to seal up the entrance from which they have exited. Um, that is, unless of course you intend to excise the tumor. That is the One T. If they've survived down there for so long, then it is only a matter of time until this happens again.
Yes,
Of
I
course.
think if you would all like to volunteer, that you all scouting the docks and seeing if there is any breach in the sewer runoffs, that is a fantastic idea. And
I
I
think
presume
then-
that's why you were here, Venus, to seal the sewer hatches. Yes, I do believe it to be quite a formidable plan. If they've already broken through, as it seems to be, then we need to secure as many of the defenses as possible and prepare for a raid upon our city.
I think it's important to mention that, we're fairly strong ourselves, but these were on a different level. These were no pushovers. If we were to face them ourselves, we would need much training before we go back. We would not be fit to fight them at our current strength.
Well, I think if you all stayed within the city and do the scouting, then should be able to recover from the rest of your wounds if that's what
I'm
you're
not
worried
even
about.
speaking about wounds. I'm just saying these were very powerful creatures. We did volley after volley after volley and didn't even take one of their minions out, let alone the bigger beast.
Again, Trace speaks up in common and says, Learn, weakness, kill.
Well, if they're as strong as they say you are, perhaps then I need to pull in more men.
It might be a
Don't
safe
know how
bet.
much time we have, but the
Just-
longer we sit here and try to plan something out, the more time we waste.
Of course, I just recommend that you do not engage them in battle if you can avoid it.
The
would
Renus
be-
and Bragdar will kind of like look at each other, and then like look back at you, and then just like break out in like crying laughter. Oh, huh. Whew. That was a good one.
Have you seen these before?
I'm not worried about any foe. You don't become the head of the Corn Silk Rat without being extraordinarily powerful yourself.
I'm just saying, don't send in your weakest men.
Well, if you're not going to offer to scout, then I will need to send a
No,
party
I
over
think we
there.
will scout, but we will scout. We just don't plan on engaging them in battle. I think.
Yes.
We could always run. We outran them last time.
Yes. Well,
Yes,
that was the odd thing. They wanted us to run. They didn't. I think they were more focused on escaping themselves than actually killing us.
Well,
I'm inclined to agree.
I do believe it to be a good idea to bring in as many from around the area that I can pull in. Sure, some of the guild members will be quite frustrated to learn that their bounties and rewards will need to be put off for a little bit of time, but if what you all have told me is true, and from the looks of each of you as you tell me your story, it seems to be with full honor that you relay this tale. So, Renus, gather some men. Go begin to seal the sewer hatches. I will join you as quickly as possible. The five of you make your way down to the docks and these sewer exits and scout to see if you find any breach. And if you are to find any enemies, do not engage. The citizens here must not be alarmed. Too much franticness amongst the town folk will put the city in chaos.
Yes, of course.
And then this is when Bragdar will grab a crystal orb, a crystal ball, and place it on his desk, and then place his hands upon it, and he'll close his eyes. And then when his eyes open, you'll see that his eyes are completely white, give off a bit of a bright hue of themselves, and his mouth will then become agape, and then more light will appear out of the back of his throat, and then pour out of his mouth, kind of just like seeping off his lips just a tiny bit. And then can each of you make me a Constitution saving throw as this pulse burst out from this crystal ball?
Oh.
Neat.
So, Krev, maybe it's with you being a little bit unprepared for what's going on, you kind of maybe get taken back a little bit with the light kind of emitting from Bragdar's eyes and mouth, and once you kind of feel like this pulse hit you, you just kind of like fall back and like land on your butt a little bit as Kadir and Onyx, you'll fall down too. Kadir, same as you. And Trace and Rekid, you'll just need to take like a step back and kind of regain your balance as like the parchment and like all the loose parchment in the room kind of flies around and begins to spiral amongst the room and then just begins to settle back on its desk and in its proper locations, and the lights from his eyes and his mouth will kind of begin to fade. And once he blinks and closes his mouth and reopens them, you'll see those large green eyes once again. And he'll say, the message has been sent. We should expect arrivals within the next couple days.
You know. Could you mentioned a crystal ball? Question: do I know what scrying is?
Give me an Arcana check.
Yes.
Yeah, you've heard of it. It's obviously a little bit beyond your capability.
I do have a. I believe I could help you in one way. I've thought of something. You are no doubt an accomplished wizard, Ragnar. Are you familiar with scrying?
Yes, quite familiar.
I could produce an image for you of their of the leader of the group that we saw. I don't think he was the head honcho by any means, but perhaps if you watch him thoroughly, maybe you would see something. And then I'll open my hand and using minor illusion, I would like to produce a miniature image, maybe 1 foot tall, of the large Yuan Ti that we saw. Not the smaller ones, but the larger one. Perhaps this image would be enough for you to attempt to watch him. You may learn something productive.
Yes. Perhaps. Might get lucky. Maybe they've gone back since they know the path is open. Seems that you all may have run into a scouting group.
Who knows? Perhaps you may even catch a glimpse of their leader. Just a thought. And I'll give a polite bow before saying, I believe we should be going down to the docks. Yes, or the water.
Yes.
Venus will look at each of you and, well, then meet me back at the tower just as the sun is beginning to set. And we'll make sure that you all can retire to your rooms for the evening once you return. Please, do be safe.
Of course. We promise to cause less trouble this time. And we beg your leave, of course. And then slight bow and walk away.
So he'll give Renus and Bragdar will give you all a bit of a nod, and you all can begin to make your way.
Sounds good.
So at once we're all out of the building, I'll speak to Trace. To be perfectly honest, I am surprised that you are willing to sign up for this. You do realize there is still the potential of danger, yes?
I guess.
Well,
Careful.
I agree. I would be careful for your sake. I will not let my mischievous side catch me, yes?
Thank you.
So this is obviously a very real group now, yes? Have you all thought as to what we should call ourselves? I mean, we'll need a name for the tournament.
Rabbit.
Rabbits?
I don't know why, but I felt like I saw that one coming.
Perhaps the lagomorphs.
Yes. Is that name of a pet?
IRL, it's the
Discord status.
taxonomical.
No.
No,
It's
it's a family that rabbits belong to.
Oh. I thought you were gonna say in Lagomorph like a name because the Discord's lagging so bad. Like,
Oh, that'd be funny too.
also acceptable.
Hmm.
Well, don't worry. We can always keep thinking, yes?
Rabbit for now.
Um, mm, yes, perhaps we should keep thinking, though.
The Fisters.
oh god. The Fisted Sisters. The Twisted Sister. Ah.
Yes, yes, jokes and whatnot. But be aware, I believe only one of us is proficient in that style.
Give it time, Kadir. Give it time.
Well, this is thoroughly something, all right. I think I should just focus on walking.
Wise.
1 foot in front of the other. It's not too hard.
One may be surprised.
But eventually, after continuing down the streets for a little bit, you will make it to the docks. And it being a little bit more peaceful of the town, you can hear the seagulls in the air as they soar above. It's just a nice crystal blue, clear skies. Sun is shining. It's not too hot. Just a really nice day out.
Oh, just to backtrack a little bit. When we were looking at the map, like Trace pulled out a piece of paper and did a quick sketch so he know what the exits are for the water
Yes.
outtakes, whatever we call it.
What I was going to do with you when the time comes is share those maps with you.
Okay.
I would like to cast Detect Magic on myself. And let me know if I'm ever in range within 30 feet of any source of magic.
Yes, just besides what we've talked about before, correct?
Yes, outside of the normal stuff.
Secret, secret.
Always look for a secret.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? Maybe it'll be something like washed up on the beach or in the water or something.
Yes, you never know. But I am going
More
to
magic shells.
Please give him inspiration for that.
I felt it more as like a jab than a good joke.
Yeah.
How dare
Hey,
you?
I enjoyed the running joke. with the
Remove a
shells.
level, please. There.
Wait,
Just playing.
me, Matt, or both?
I was just gonna say crap, but I was just kidding. No, that was a good.
I'm keeping your joke alive.
It was a good joke. If anyone's been watching any of the Divinity streams, we have this running joke of magic shells that I almost got Freckid tricked into buying. So, but you
did
can
buy
you
it.
can't have
I
inspiration.
did.
Oh, I thought you didn't. I thought only what's his Trey spot 3 to cast light on him.
He did, but he got it at a better deal. I'm pretty sure.
Could
Probably.
have sworn it was 1 copper each. Like, what are you doing? Cutting copper coins in half?
So, yeah, you can have inspiration for that crap. That was pretty good.
Thanks.
So, like I was
Yeah.
saying, you make it down to the docks. You can see a few ships at port. There's sailors and some of like the deckhands kind of unloading the ships appropriately of their cargo, and you can see that most of them are like fishing ships, nothing too extravagant in the port at the time. Um, but you do know where those sewer runoffs were. You have two at the docks, and then two more down in this location where I'm pinging, just south of the big building indicated on the map.
Cool.
Okay. Well, we're just going to take whatever's closest first, I guess.
Yeah, I figured you were checking the ones at the docks first.
Yeah.
All right.
As you all search around and you find yourselves in what you believe to be the correct area, you don't see any of like the runoffs indicated on the map.
Hmm?
Probably,
Is there like a building close by that could be in?
probably underground.
Oh no, the runoffs, they may be under the water line.
I think as I'm good at survival, right? Is there any chance I could like work out where like the stream would go? If there's any water coming from it?
Yeah, so like just from like the north side, kind of wrapping around the bend, you can see where like the little bit of the arcs from the runoffs appear, but almost completely submerged underwater. It'll just take like a moment to actually like search around for them.
Hmm.
All right. Well, I suppose we are going for a leisurely swim.
Trace jumps in.
Do you know how to swim?
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah, I have athletics, so I'm good.
Yeah, so go ahead and give me an athletics check.
Hopefully I'm good at it. Good. 13.
Yeah, and you like jump down and you feel yourself slightly bogged down from like all your clothes and gear that you're wearing when you jumped in. But you're able to keep your head up here. Good to go.
I assume I'm just going to like dive down and see like if I can see anything interesting, like a big opening or something that could like someone could pass through or something like that.
Yeah, go ahead. Once you dive down into the water, give me pretty sure your dark vision would still work underwater.
Yeah, I hope so.
I mean,
yeah.
and it's not like it's gonna be complete darkness. The sun's out. It's a nice day. You're not too far underwater. Yeah, just give me a perception check.
Ooh, and that 20.
Yeah,
bet
you
you-
easily spot both of them, both the runoffs, and you can see that both of them on the dock side of the city of Lahles is secured. The cages are still sealed, as Bragdar had indicated.
Well, I return
And-
to the surface, and then I look up at my friends, and then I nod. No, and then I return to land.
I'll help him. I'll reach down to help him up out of the water. This
Thank
is good. This is good news. Perhaps they are still sealed in the underground.
Yes.
Were there other runoffs that we should be checking?
I don't think so, no? Right?
No, the other two just to the south. There was 4 total.
Oh, we're going to the other two then.
You all can make your way through the city of Lahles. And then just on like the outskirts, you'll be standing in like a bit of like muckiness as you make your way away from the dock areas. And when you're standing along like the shore, your boots and everything will kind of just sink into the sand a little bit, making it slightly of a pain in the ass to walk. Just kind of like having that little bit of resilience. But you can easily make your way around, and you will see 2 of the runoffs, and they have water kind of expelling from them, kind of like trickling down ever so slightly, and you can see it kind of just lands below, and it's kind of created a small stream that runs to the sea.
And-
I would like to go over to the runoffs and inspect them.
Oh. It's quite easy enough to see. Once you make your way around and you're kind of standing at like a southern position looking directly at them, you'll notice that both of these runoffs have had the cages seem to be kind of like bent inwards and broken as a few of the pieces of the bars lay upon the ground.
I would like to. Well, first, I'd like to make a perception check to see if there's any other signs around. Maybe like a tool or something like that was used to break it.
So go ahead and give me like an active perception check for this one.
Then. Oof.
Yeah, you don't see any tool or thing of that nature. So you kind of like look around. You will know that this was definitely dealt with by force, but extraordinary force.
Could I get closer and investigate the gate?
Yes. Give me an investigation check.
Also, oof.
Yeah, you're unable to like uncover anything. You just see that like some of the bars, like the ends, are kind of like broken off in like little pieces of like shrapnel, and if, like it looks really sharp to the touch. If like you were to touch it, you definitely prick your finger a bit. But other than them kind of just bent back from the extreme force, you're very quite uncertain of how, or well, I guess you kind of know possibly of what, but definitely how this was done.
Is there any sign of magic nearby?
Nope.
All right. In that case, I'll let my compatriots know. I have been unable to yield any additional information. The gates have been broken. The seal to the underground is free, but we know nothing else. If I were to guess, I would say that the 1T, well, they easily could have swam elsewhere along this beach and perhaps are elsewhere in the land now.
Do we think this was an entrance or an exit?
You said that it was bent in from the water to the underground.
Correct. Bent in from your position, so like into the sewers.
I mean, is it possible that whoever pulled the bars inward to escape as opposed to pushing?
Yes, I was thinking that as well. If it may have taken multiple 1T to do this.
It
And-
may have been. Oh,
Pulled-
yes, if they had pulled up some kind of pulley system, would have
Or
been
s-
more effective than pushing.
Or something
Yes.
much larger.
Yes. Well, either way, pulling would be more effective than pushing in this type of scenario.
At any rate, it is possible that something was pushing into the sewers. We cannot disregard this.
No, but
Well, I guess we have to ask what makes more sense. They had to get into the sewers in some way.
can we take a look at the inside of the pipe? Does it look like there was, I don't know, recent scuff marks or anything on the ground from someone trying to
pool.
Or tracks.
Yeah, tracks or scuff marks.
Give me a. What would that be? Nature or survival? Probably nature.
Survival, I would
Survival?
think, because
Okay.
you're looking for footprints.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah. For more footprints, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
Nice.
So with your keen eye there, Krev, and being quite familiar with tracks, being a druid that you are, you will see through like some of the sludge and like the waste that's on the ground, little, I guess like half S's coming out from like the little bit of like the banks, seeming to have formed upon like the sand brushed upon like the sides of the sewer walls, probably from like the wind blowing it in from the beach.
Hmm. But do I see scales or footprints or?
No,
or-
you just
yeah.
see those like little S's. Like they kind of seem to be like half on the sand and like what you could easily guess to be half in the water. But the half
I'm
in the water,
confused.
obviously.
What exactly does it that these S's represent?
I would think a snake slithering, perhaps.
That's what I was thinking. Are they big enough for something like that? To what we saw earlier?
Oh yeah.
Guys, I think this shows the snake slithering from the inside. Do they go outward towards the outside?
You don't see any on the outside.
But the outside is under the water, right?
It's the outside goes into the beach, about like a 15-foot sandy beach that seems pretty wet from when you guys were stepping on it. It's like the tide had kind of receded a little bit in recent time, and when you look out, you don't see any other tracks.
So it would have been washed away anyways, from my understanding, right? If it's on the outside, I mean. If
I
there
think
were
that's
any
a safe
tracks.
assumption.
Yeah. So guys, I think this definitely leads that they were coming out from here with the slithering tracks.
Is there any indication as to the direction they have gone?
Well, as you can see, this wet sand here is, the tide kind of carries away the tracks. We have really no idea. Maybe if we look nearby in this area outside, we could find tracks elsewhere nearby.
What time of day is it?
Say about at this point, it's probably nearing 1 o'clock in the afternoon after conversing and then having to make your way through the city of Lahles. And the city is pretty large.
So, is there parts of the beach that would not be covered up by a high tide?
No, at this particular area of the city that you are at, like there's kind of like this like natural sea wall
Okay.
where these runoffs come out of.
Right, gotcha. I was hoping maybe there might be a part that wouldn't have been washed away, but.
Well,
This
if we-
definitely isn't the area that you would like lay out and get a tan with the sewage pipes right here.
No, of course not.
Well, if we wanted to catch them in the act, I would guess in the dead of night is probably the best option. I doubt they would try to move during the day.
When they could possibly be seen, yes, of course.
Does this water flow in a particular direction?
The water from the sewer?
Yes. Well,
Yes, it's
once it lands into the.
Yeah, it's creating that
It's-
like stream down to the ocean or the empty tide sea.
And which way does the sea flow?
At the current time, it's like
Hmm.
pulling away from you. But I mean,
So, at nighttime, what way would it flow?
I would think that you would at least have some knowledge of like how tides work and like
Mm-hmm.
in a few hours time the tide will rise, and then A few hours after that, the tide will fall.
So if I were to follow the direction of the tides at night, I think we should head that direction. If we were to try to find any tracks.
Yes.
I don't know if that makes
Well,
sense to you guys or not, but
yes, coming back at night, I think, could yield better options if we were truly looking for them. But I believe it is enough that we have learned what has happened, that they have broken free to an extent. So I think we can report back with this for the moment. I would not wish to get in any trouble over our heads for now.
Agree. Learn more.
this makes sense. Hmm.
All right, so yeah, in that case, I'm gonna start heading back to Corn Silk Rat Guild.
Okay. It'll take you about like 45 minutes to an hour if you were all to make your way back through the busy city and the streets, especially around this time of day, with everyone kind of flooding and going about their business. Um, but you can make your way back to the guild.
Sure.
All right. So, so we'll go back and we'll try to go to Ragdar's office to deliver the message to him.
In general, right? Is there a lot of stairs in this building?
The only ones that you've seen so far is just the flight going up to the second floor.
So it is actually a very snake-friendly place, huh? Ah. Never mind. I'm just thinking. Carry on.
Me or you guys? I'm waiting for you guys. You make
So-
your way
Just
back.
following-
You're looking
I'm
for
just following it. I'm just following
Ragnar,
Kadir.
but you'll lay your eyes upon the familiar sight of Aaron.
Yes, Aaron, it is good to see you again.
So you've got everyone up in a frenzy here. Heard the stories. Ragnar's raised everyone on high alert.
Yes, and to only think we could have been getting up to other trouble instead.
Well, he informed me that you all may be coming back here after your scouting expedition.
Yes.
Didn't expect you all to be back so soon. Expect that to be good
well,
news.
It is unfortunate then that it is not. My compatriots and myself, we were down by the docks. We perused the underground sewer entrances, and two of them were broken, with signs of our slithering friends having been nearby. They have no doubt broken free.
And I think with that, as you kind of convey the message to Aaron Perry, one of the officers of the guild, that these creatures seem to have broken free from the sewers, and we will take our break. So we're a little bit over our halfway point, and I'm sure some of us need to use the bathroom. Cough, cough, me. So, with that, we'll pick it back up in about 5-10 minutes at most, with you continuing your conversation with Aaron Perry.
All right,
Be right
sounds
back,
good.
everybody.
Sure.
are back. That was the wrong overlay, and this is the right one because I'm the best. But we are back. Um, so you have just relayed Kadir to Aaron Perry, one of the officers of the guild, that it seems that the creatures below have broken free. Well, did you see any of them yourselves? Any tracks? Any sort of indication, clues?
Well, the sewer, by the water overflow from the sewer, there's broken bars over there. You could find the Yuan-Ti's slithering tracks from the inside. But it looks like they have escaped.
Well, I believe this to leave more questions then for me than answers. If they had a passage into the sewers, then why would they escape and go back to the shore?
My thoughts.
Yes, it is clear that they have some intention by doing this. Um, it is also it is possible that something broke into the sewers to free them, or also possible that they merely used some type of leverage to pull the bars inside. I would heavily suggest sending a more armed expedition to check, especially at night. Perhaps even to guard.
Yes, the only thing that I can think of is perhaps that they're using this for more of a direct path from the sea into the underparts of the city. But not the tactician such as Bragdar is. But I will relay the message to him. Great job on getting things done. I will have a team formed up and sent out there in case any forces are to be dealt with.
Of course, happy to help.
Well, do you note that this is much appreciated by the guild? You are not obligated to do such things, but we will be having more members beginning to arrive within the next few days. Ragnar thinks that something big is in the future.
Yes, knowing him, how he thinks, I find no doubt in this.
Well, feel free to enjoy the festivities here. Drinks, food, all the sorts. Definitely some games to play and some coins to be earned from the more dim-witted members of our guild. But if that's not necessarily your style, then feel free to go about your way. I'm sure Bragdar will be contacting you.
Of course.
Sounds good.
Yes, thank you for the offer, but I'll probably just be reading.
You want tea? Yes.
So what is it that you all wish to do and, or I guess like to go? I don't know how distracting it is for you, Kadir, in a bit of a noisier environment, but for me and reading, seems to be a bit distracting. But I also have a very wandering eye and a short attention span, so
I mean, it depends. If there are any quiet corners around here. If not, I might just honestly wander back to the tower.
what about the rest of you?
I was thinking the tower as well.
Yes, I'd like to get some reading in.
think I'd like to do some shopping.
Rabbit?
No, something bigger.
2 rabbits?
Even bigger.
A dire rabbit.
What's a hero without a trusty steed?
It's hard for me to think about a monk riding a horse punching people.
Yeah.
We're
Like-
not still talking about food, are we? You must be
Oh,
quite
no.
hungry.
Yes, enough to eat a horse. No,
Oof.
for our travels. To be clear, 1 horse for me.
Oh, here I thought you were going to be buying some for all of us. I'm
Oh, no, no,
disappointed in you.
Perhaps the small one could ride shotgun, but
Yes. See, it has its advantages.
Has something.
Matt absolutely needs to find a giant owl as a pet that he can put a little saddle on.
That I can ride. Oh my god.
That would be awesome.
so yes,
That is true.
I seek a trusty riding horse and a stable in which to keep it while we're in the city.
All right. If I'm not mistaken, off the top of my memory, I believe riding horses are like 45.
75 gold.
Usually.
Um,
A
I'm
draft
lo-
horse is 50 and a riding horse is 75.
yeah,
Oh shit. Okay.
yeah.
Draft horses, I think, are faster, if I remember.
Yeah,
think
so
that's 50 movement.
like a riding horse is 75, draft or 50, like as like a base, anyways. Not all the prices are solidified in stone.
Right.
But I mean, Lahles is a big city for shopping. This is one of the best places probably to find a steed. And you can go to the stables. And are the rest of you? Well, actually, Onyx, what are you doing? I believe you're the only one who hadn't given in a response yet.
I'm probably going to go shopping with Rickett, but not for shopping purposes.
I'm just gonna hang out.
Oh no, I'm going to gather information.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I took that as you were gonna steal stuff.
Oh, that's steal some hearts, perhaps.
5-finger discount. A different kind of fisting.
Oh no.
So
Wrong game.
as you all kind of relay the information to each other, Rekit and Onyx are gonna go do a bit of shopping and
Shopping.
as Onyx puts it, in air quotes. The rest of you plan to head back to the tower and begin studying or doing some form of research. So, first, let's go ahead and go to our shopping party. As you all make your way through the town, beginning to interact with some of the civilians, kind of walking about on the streets, not really knowing where to go, what's your plan?
Let's see. Rekid is not charismatic at all. So probably we'll ask the first person that appears to be running a shop.
Well, that thing that you'll lay your eyes upon first will definitely be a younger gentleman, probably, well, definitely younger in comparison to you, but presumably in like his older 20s, young 30s. And he's just selling some books, and they seem a bit like tattered and worn. As you approach, sir, good day. Seem be a wise man of your years. Perhaps a good novel for when you rest your head at night.
Oh, I thank you. Yes, I am well read. However, I seek something else. And I get in real close. Where can I find A horse.
Your breath stinks.
Roll seduction check. At
ah,
advantage?
yes, this would be on account of breakfast. I'll back up a bit. Yes, I require a horse. Do you sell horses? Fine, bookmonger.
Yes, you know the stables in town. There's a couple. Which kind of ride are you looking for? Something more traditional, just as a horse, or perhaps something a bit more far-fetched and from far lands?
Oh, just a fast, sturdy horse. Maybe one that can take a punch. Figuratively speaking, of course.
You'll see like his eyes kind of like be like a little bit shocked when you say that at first, and then when you say figuratively, he'll like like awkward laugh. Well, uh, Terry's stables is where you'd probably wish to head out for. He's got some quite renowned horses, and luck serves you well. Perhaps he still has some of the war horses in stock.
Ah, perfect. And I will seek out this fabled Terry.
Yeah, so what you're going to do is you're going to head down this road, and then when you get to that building right there, you're going to hang a left and follow the path until you get to the main gates on the northwest side. Then if you go down a little bit along the walls, you'll see the stables.
Perfect. Here for your troubles. Awesome copper piece.
He'll like look at it like in an open palm of his hand, and then like look back up at you and say, "Thanks, appreciated."
Kind of. How do I read his reaction to this? Is it thankful or is it?
It's more of like a thrown off kind of feeling. He's not really sure how to like act about it.
Oh, okay.
Like probably like that kind of reaction you would expect for someone not getting paid for like information and just more of like used to general conversation.
Ah. Well, good day then. Thank you for the info.
He'll pocket the copper and, well, good day. And good day to you as well, madame.
Indeed, good day.
Eventually making your way down, following the path that he gave you. He will eventually come to the stables, and then you'll see like a open barn with 4 horses kind of put up in their stables as they are eating some hay and kind of splashing around in some water, and then 2 others that are chasing them each other about the little bit of an open pasture. This is when on the other side of the pasture you'll see a male dwarf kind of standing on the lower bar and slunched over the top one and just be shouting out, "Ah, that a girl, Cinnamon! Give Cinnamon a run for his money. Ha 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 ha! Quite a frisky little one." Ah,
Thank-
hello there.
Hello. How do you do?
He'll kind of like hop down and make his way outside of the pasture and around to each of you. And see a male dwarf that's pretty fair in his appearance. Seems to have kind of like a little bit of a sunken in right cheek. And as he gets a bit closer, you can easily see that it has an indentation of like a horseshoe, seemingly to have been kicked in the face. Copper hair and green eyes, and on the side of the face where he's been kicked, you can kind of see like a little bit of like a grayish hue over the green color of the eye. Comes over to you. Then you'll see little house cat kind of like start to rub up against his legs and oh, there, Tuda. Come on, back in the house with you.
What can you do me for a horse?
Uh, excuse me?
How much is it for a horse here?
Well, it depends which ones you're looking for.
The best breed possible, if you don't mind. We want the best caliber of horse, one that can be sturdy.
We
And
were.
oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say we were told to speak with Horsemaster Terry about
Yes.
acquiring such a beast.
Are you Terry, or are you not?
I'm Teddy.
Well then,
Why, you
Well-
don't think that a dwarf can train these horses?
I'm going to be honest with you, Terry. I don't know jack about horses. I just want one.
well,
Well, then
Becky,
perhaps it's best for you to take a fully trained one. One that's kind of open to strangers.
but
Just
we
a
do
standard.
also want him to be quite sturdy as well. We may be going into battle, perhaps. We don't want anything that will be scared easily. Of course.
He'll kind of give you each of both a look up and down and then just say, with all due respect, I don't think that you all could afford any of those horses.
Try me.
425 gold a pop.
What do you think?
Oh
Rick?
boy.
Ah,
Oh, doggy.
No poker face, by the way.
Beckett just
Scroll.
starts like flinching and like gagging as like clenches onto the stomach at the here at the upon hearing the price of the horses.
It's like
But
that,
those are
that
for the
sweaty
best.
face.
If you wish something a little bit more in probably your standards, 50, 75 gold, and somewhere in that range, depending on which one.
how about this? Where are these horses? I'd like to see them. I'd like to inspect them if you don't mind. And I'm sure my friend here would also like to as well. You can't just go by the price. You have to look at what you want to see if it's worthy.
Aye, well, at least there's a little bit of wits about you. Come on, over here to the stables.
Lead away.
He'll, kind of like make his way over with you guys following along, and, you can see that they're, like the 4 horses in the stables. He'll point out to you. This one, beautiful white mare. This, nice black steed. Brown one here, another male. And then this one, with a beautiful blonde color.
Now, what can you
Also
tell
at a mare.
me? What can you tell me about their experience?
Well, each have seen the road and a bit of travel, but from the sounds of it, it doesn't seem that they've seen anything that you all plan on seeing. But these horses aren't meant for fighting. That's what those horses are for. As he points
Have-
over towards the 2 in the pasture, chasing each other about.
Have any of them ever lost a foal before? Which is a
No.
baby. Okay. That's quite good. I wouldn't want a horse that's lost a foal. It's bad luck, you know.
Agreed.
Do they have names?
Well, I'd call this one Sally, this one Bert, this one Harold, and then this one Janine. But once
Do
you
you
buy
mind
them,
if
you
I
call
look
them
them
whatever
over?
the hell you want. I don't care.
Oh,
Right,
that's true.
sure. Record, I do suggest we look them over. Do you mind if I get closer and touch them, perhaps? I want to see if they might have any issues. Not that you don't take care of your horses, I'm sure you're quite good to them, but I'd like to inspect them personally before I spend any money on my friend here.
You're not doing anything that I wouldn't.
Indeed. Do you mind?
Please. kind of like open hand. And what I'm gonna ask is for each one that you're like checking over,
Mhm.
give me an animal handling check.
Oh, cool.
Real quick though, Terry, what do we do to avoid all of this? And then I gesture towards my face.
On, you notice the eye.
Awesome.
Okay, so first things first, don't sneak up on a horse. They don't like that.
Ah,
Right, there'll be no sneaking. I just simply want to be kind and gentle and inspect them.
Second, don't be so damn short.
I suppose that could have easily been a below the belt shot on another fellow.
Yes, I've never had an issue with being short before, except with my temper. And I am getting a bit impatient. Um, Rebecca, do you mind coming with me so we can look at the horses and
Of
see how?
course.
Thank you. Are you good with animal handling at all? Have you ever looked at a horse before? Have you ever looked at an animal? Are you particularly inclined with any type of animals that you would notice any wounds or any ailments with them?
No mammals this large. Back with the monks, we would see things like the occasional monkey and birds, but nothing like this.
Oh, monkey, you say?
Monkey and birds. I like that.
But
Yes.
I'm a quick learner.
Ah, well, I suppose I shall be inspecting them with you, if you don't mind.
Of course.
All right. I suppose we'll start with the black one.
So, Kyle, did you want animal handling checks from both of us?
I thought we would. No, right?
Just one
I,
for each one, please.
Okay,
okay.
doing it. Or are we just gonna roll them all at once?
Yeah, if that's what you'd like to do.
Okay, that's probably faster.
You're starting with the black one, as you stated, though.
Yeah.
Seems to be a fairly um, healthy steed. Pretty stocky. You can see that it's got some nice. I'm not a horse person. I guess like hamstring muscles on. I don't know. Whatever the leg muscles are for horses.
Good musculature.
It's muscular, and
Musculature.
it seems to have like a determined look in its eye.
I also want to check their hooves. So whenever I went to inspect them, my idea was like to check if they had any wounds, to check if they were particularly mistreated with like whipping, or if they were used to like um, more harsher handling. Because of course, like he's gonna show like that he's kind to them and stuff in front of our faces, but looking at the horses, it might be a different story.
Of course. So you can see that like when you pick up like the hooves and check them out, that it's got a little bit of worn like horseshoe on it that you would feel that probably needs to be replaced with probably within a good bit of travel, depending on how much you travel. That time I would say is variable.
Okay.
But like everything seems to be like cleaned out, like nice, no mistreatment.
Okay.
You're not calling PETA on this dwarf.
What do you think, Cracked? Do you like this one? He's quite muscular, and his hooves are in okay shape. I mean, they might need to be replaced. The
He is a very good beefy boy.
yes, and he's black as night, and he would be great for stealth, of course. The blackest of things always good for stealth.
I am all
AKA
about the aesthetic.
ah, I always do love a good black stallion. So, would you like to continue looking, or have we already made our choice?
Oh no, I think I'd like to see all of them.
Ah, okay. Very well. Um, let's look at the white one next, don't you think?
Yes.
Such a beautiful color. Let's see here. And handling. There we are. Are you gonna roll?
Oh, I thought it.
Just one roll.
Oh.
So
Oh my.
whoever
sorry.
basically wants to take the animal handling front line, we'll say.
Okay. I guess
Now,
my bad.
well, out of game though, Erica. I'm not proficient, but I do have a very high wisdom,
Oh.
so
Okay.
I do have a +4 to it.
Okay. I mean, I guess I'll take my 18 now, and then you can roll in the next.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good call.
What have you rolled?
This mare with the white in color is quite beautiful. You'll see that it has a nice kind of like slender and more of tonish style build to her. Um, Everything seems to be good. You can see that there is a little bit of like an indication that she had given birth to a fawn, um, and still seems pretty healthy. So that's usually good standing as well. Um, Her eyes quite beautiful with like a yellow and bluish color as well.
Ah. What do you think?
A gorgeous horse indeed.
Do you like her better than the black one?
Is this one as muscular as the other one?
No, a bit more slender, still tone and
Hmm.
in shape, but not as like bulky.
Not better or worse, just different.
Of course. So, on to the next, I suppose.
I'll get this one.
Okay.
Which one's this?
I forget the other colors. I'm sorry.
The blonde one.
Well, I was saying dang to the roll.
Yeah, yeah. It
So
happens.
describe how you're checking this one out for me, reckon.
Look at the front.
You
and not
start
the back.
punching it. Like I can find a horse that can take the punch.
Put your dukes up. Maybe I approach from the side, but maybe I'm walking too softly. Like maybe I forgot to not walk as softly as I normally do, so that it's better. It can better sense me coming.
All right, so blonde horse will begin to like kick and rear a bit and um, start to like knock down her food bucket and spill her water all over the place. And Terry will just pop up like, whoa, calm down, girl, calm down. It's okay. He just wants to take a look at you. With that little like call out, you can see the horse kind of grow a bit more calm, and then you'll notice that she's got like her ears back and eye kind of like peered upon you, Record.
Whoa. That's my mistake. Just little old me. Maybe I'll bend over and grab some of the food she knocked over and knock it in like a cupped hand.
And I feel like a bit of like nibble upon like your fingers, and then like kind of like a bit of a slimy tongue kind of start to wrap around your hand as it takes the food out.
Whoa, this tickles.
Oh, it seems that she likes you.
It seems so. This maybe started off a little rough, but we got there.
And I mean, with like her being kind of a bit off to you and seeming to be a little bit more calm at the moment, though, it seems to just be a pretty fair horse. Every time like you kind of move around and try to like take a look or like try to lift one of her legs, like she'll just like kick it back down away from you, and you'll just hear Terry give like a little bit of a laugh.
Strong spirited, this one.
I told you not to sneak up on him.
Yeah,
Look, you see, you still got all your pots.
yeah.
For now.
So, who wants to give an animal handling check for the last one?
I gotta redeem myself.
I guess so.
Alright. Redeem away.
There you go.
Hey.
Nice.
So one of the first thing that you'll notice is that there is a bit of holes kind of kicked out of like the gate that kind of holds the horse in its stable, just the right size for hooves as you begin to approach, and as you get a bit closer, she'll begin to like kind of, this one's a boy, I'm sorry. He'll begin to kind of like rear up, and you'll see that like his muscles are like pretty bulging, but you'll also see that it's got some scar markings upon it as well, in like the left leg that seem to have healed over pretty well, and it's an old wound, but by this point. And then like when you get closer and like lay your arms upon him, he'll immediately calm down and just kind of like rest his head upon yours, like forehead to forehead.
Oh, this one has seen the world a bit, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's one of Sir Riffin's old horses. That one's seen quite a bit of travel in its day. Definitely a bit of wounds as well, as you can see. He'll kind of just like point to the leg.
Yeah. I guess. Don't we all go around with some wounds?
Usually that one's a little bit more violent. It's nice to see so easily taken to another. Took me a couple of weeks to be able to get into the stables with that one.
And if animals could speak, maybe.
She likes
Yeah.
to kick, though.
Yeah. I guess lucky for him, I'm a little light on my feet. Perhaps I can dodge it.
Well, that one there, it's seen its better days, I'll say. Still a nice, healthy horse, but not like the others, ones that haven't taken a spear to the chest. Tend to be a bit better, but that one there is only 50 gold.
Very interesting. I guess that leaves one more to look at. Onyx, would you like to do the honors of this one?
Sure, why not?
I believe that was all of them, wasn't it?
Oh,
Just
Oh,
the
that was
four?
another one.
I mean, there's
I guess I thought there was a.
there's 6 total that I have on my
Oh.
notes, but the other 2 were indicated to be much of a steeper price.
Oh, okay.
Ah, okay.
So he took you to the ones that were in your price range as you had requested.
So,
what do you think?
honestly, and call me crazy, I'm kind of leaning towards the older and grizzled one. Call it empathy.
I'd say that one or the black one. I do like a good muscular horse.
And you were planning on getting your own horse, right, Onyx?
Oh no,
Oh, okay.
I don't want my own horse.
I see.
I was only merely here to help my friend.
I do appreciate it.
To make sure that you didn't get led astray. Like, with those shells.
Ha! Yes. A fun mistake that was.
Oh, do you meet the old man selling magical shells? I bought one. He'll like pull out of his
Yes,
pocket a shell.
I keep it on my person at all times. See. Good luck, I think.
I think I'm
So
gonna
anyway-
go ahead and put a older gentleman selling shells at like every town, but it always gets destroyed. Where he'll be like, "Not my magical shells."
My
Oh.
cabbages.
So yeah, I think I'll take that last one.
All right. Well, like I said, that one's only 50 gold coins, and it will come with a saddle, reins, and food for a week. But
Excellent.
stable fee, if you wish to leave it here instead of bringing it with you through town, is 1 gold a night.
Very good. You have yourself a deal, and I'd like to prepay for, let's say, 7 nights.
Isn't it kind of counterproductive to buy it now? You could wait 7 days and then save 7 gold. Just saying.
Put it
Yeah,
on.
but-
Put it on layaway.
Yes. We're not horsing around here.
Well, I figured if we're gonna be doing a week of downtime, this would give Rekid something to do in that downtime.
Yes.
I mean, like
Yeah.
if you want to purchase it now and leave it, or you know, in the future come back, you can take your chances of, you know, maybe a new lot being brought in, maybe this one still being here with other ones. I mean, who knows within like a week's time.
That's okay. I'm good with buying it now.
Okay, and then you wanted to prepay for a week.
Yep.
So, with the purchase of the 50 gold for the fine steed that's seen its days in battle and is well traveled, for the 50 gold, and then the week, which would be 57 in total, he will cut you a deal for 55 gold, and supply your horse with all the items that you would need, like I was saying, like the saddle, reins, and food. But then also this will cover its food for the week for you, and anything to take care of it.
Awesome. And are those the stats of a riding horse?
Yep.
Okay. Perfect. I'll subtract 57 gold from my sheet.
And then I don't know if you all noticed, but you do actually have an updated Lahles handout. It added the wizard tower on there for you. So then next week, what I'll do is I'll add the stables onto the map for you since you've gone to that location.
Awesome.
Like I said, I
And-
figured it'd be better to do it like this instead of like just laying out like 50 individual shops.
I gotcha. What color was this horse again?
I believe the battled one was a brown.
Okay.
Just your standard looking one. Nothing special. The other two, like the black and the white one, were definitely a bit more elegant in their colors. But the other two, I guess, would be just a bit more standard.
Gotcha.
Well, I'll take good care of him for you. You got his name? Probably good that I start calling him by the name that you wish. Get some used to it.
Let me get back to you on that.
Okay, I'll just say good horse for now.
Excellent. Good doing business with you, Master Terry.
And he'll extend out his hand and he'll say, "Pleasure's all mine."
I will shake it.
And you, madame,
Yes.
anything for you?
Not today, but I do appreciate your patronage.
Perhaps one day we'll get lucky and see some more carts and wagons come in. It's been a bit dry here. Seems that there's a bit more trouble on the road from the north than maybe the guild is
Really,
expected.
what kind of trouble?
Beats me. I never leave Lahles. Too dangerous out
Yeah.
there. Safer in here.
Do you have a lot of people that come around for horses?
Oh, yes. Lots that plan to travel north to Blucksmouth, then make their way even farther up to Vala. It
Ah.
stinks there, though.
How long have you lived here?
Lahles order on the Elista.
Elista?
244 years.
My goodness. Quite the man.
Been running these stables here in Lahles for about, what's it now, 11:01. You can see him start to begin to struggle a bit as he's trying to do math in his head, and he'll say, 80 years. No. 90. No. 80 years.
Nonetheless, quite a long time. Quite a long time. So, what can you tell me about Lahles exactly?
Oh, it's great. Economy's booming. Gold always flowing hand to hand. Plenty of things to do, things to see, and it's safe.
I'd like to roll an insight check, please.
Your request is denied. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Ugh. Phew.
Yeah, I mean, he loves it here.
He loves it here, but you know.
The walls are thick. Nothing can get in from outside.
So, do you know anywhere that I could find elegant clothing, perhaps? Or a luxurious shop, maybe? Because you've been here for quite a long time. I'm sure you know other shopkeepers. Right?
Oh, yeah. A good pal, Burton. Sells some nice clothes. Always seems to have some nice fine garments about him. Accessories, necklaces, earrings, rings.
Nice.
All
Where
sorts
would-
of fancy stuff with nice shiny gems.
Where would I find him?
Just up the road. He'll like point a little bit farther down. You can't miss him. Quite a loudmouth. But
Oh.
he's a good guy.
I guess I'll be the judge of that. I do bid you a good day, sir. I must be on my way, and so shall Record, I'm sure.
Well,
Oh.
Reckon I'll keep the good horse for you.
I've actually thought of a name while you were conversing with my comrade. Brego.
Prego?
Yes.
Oh,
Grazie.
well, all right. Well,
Thank you.
if you all go plan to see Burton, tell him that Terry says hello.
Ah, yes, of course. I will most definitely mention your name. You've been here quite a long time. I'm sure your name is well known in these parts.
Aye,
Thank you again.
you're welcome. Pleasure to meet you. I want to make sure that he's in good condition and ready to go when you come back there.
Fantastic. Until
gonna-
next time, Brego.
And you all can begin to make your way away from the stables and head towards where he told you
Burton.
Burton to be. And can each of you roll me a perception check, please?
Yes.
Yes.
Reception.
How much gold did we get
Not
for
you,
completing?
Kadir.
How much gold did we get for completing that? Returning the chest?
Yeah. You decided to stay home and read.
I figured if I rolled high enough, I might be able to overhear them from the tower.
So,
I'm assuming it's just Christian and Erica.
when
Yeah.
when you all are walking away, Rekid and Onyx, planning on going to see Burton, you'll hear Terry from the back like, Good Brego. Good Brego. Oh shit! And then as you turn around, you see this moment where the horse just like rears back and kicks him and like right in the gut, and he just like flies back a few feet and like hits one of the pillars. You're like, son of a bitch! I can't wait till you're gone. So let me ask you this real quick there, Onyx. I know you wanted to do some investigation and like investigating. Is there anything in particular that you wanted to do for like the fancy clothes shop?
Oh, I just wanted to find out information about nobility about or any people that come to the store that might be of interest to me, that might be trying to find disguises or anything like that, like people that might be unusual and looking for like um, good disguises, or they're looking for a particular type of clothing, like maybe the person's looking for like a special rare silk or something. I don't know what's like in law, so I don't know what kind of clothing exactly, like the
So
luxury stuff.
when you're
Like what?
making your way over to this fancy wear shop,
Hmm.
you'll see that it just has like the name Burton's above it, and
Hmm.
when you make your way in, you can see a thin human male with long silver hair, kind of like pulled back into a ponytail that hangs down to the mid spine of his back. And he's got some really soft blue eyes and seems to be wearing some really fanciful clothes with shiny rings and pendants and bits of jewels that hang from his ears. Well, good day, madam. How are you today?
Ah, you must be Burton, that I've been hearing all about. Pleasure to make your acquaintance, sir. And I extend my hand with my signet ring.
Ah, yes. Well, to what do we owe the pleasure of such nobility amongst presents today? Especially more in a common area?
Well, I'm looking for perhaps your rarest goods, perhaps. I'd like to browse, if you don't mind.
Ah, well, without further ado, please take your eyes away from this junk. And he'll then give like a couple of claps, and you'll hear like some slides of from like the walls kind of like open up, and then uh, it seems like 10s and 20 and 30 kind of like gnomes just start to jump out of the walls as he kind of gives you a bow and begins to walk away. And then all of the clothes kind of get like shifted, being taken away into the back, new ones being coming out, and you just hear like hup hup 2 3 4, hup hup 2 3 4, and then they start placing really nice wares down on the floor, and then one will shut the shutters to the windows and then lock the door, and then uh, just give like a salute to Burton. And he'll say, ah, well, how about these? Some of the finest wares from the nobility in Zidane and the
Ah,
grand royal city of Blight.
hmm. What color
Yes.
are they?
Whew, your vast colors, mainly more of a light white color, and then some in light blue. And then he'll begin to explain that Zidane, well, quite a rich city, uh, frozen wasteland, most of the other places. So when the nobles or royal family go about, this proves to be nice camouflage, if you will. But as you can
Ah,
see here, quite beautiful, as gives indication of snow and ice depicted along the sleeves and cloaks.
why, yes. do the nobility ever come to you for clothing, good sir? Because I do see you have quite a mini help here for that sort of thing.
Ah, yes, this is some of the king's old wares for when he's in his royal court. You see, Zidane is kind of closed off to the rest of the world of Elista, only sending out trade ships far and few between. One said to land every few months.
Ah. What can you tell me about that family? The royal family?
Yeah, so what he'll do is he'll go on to send you like a brief, tell you like a brief explanation, but I will send that to you in Discord because there's quite a lot.
Okay, sorry.
So and um, to be honest, I probably think it's probably like a 15-page handout, and I'm not gonna go through all that. So
Oh,
I'll,
that's
I'll
fine.
pull out some of like the more key details for you and send them over to you.
Okay. Do you ever have any people coming here for disguises, perhaps?
Oh heavens, no! I don't deal with any of that riffraff here.
Oh, of course. Insight.
Okay.
I'm rolling in.
He definitely doesn't
Cracking.
deal with any of that riffraff here.
How much would this be for these beautiful clothes?
For you, my dear, only 5 gold for the ensemble.
5 gold? My.
Accessories costing quite a bit more.
How much are the accessories?
Matching earrings will be about 25 gold. Rings, the sort, depending on if you would like any rubies, topaz, or which specific gem, will vary in price.
Do you have any magic gems, perhaps?
No, if I had that capability, then I wouldn't be in the more poor parts of town. Be more in towards the center of the city.
Well, I thought perhaps, you might have a special type of gem you might be hiding about for special patrons. I thought I would ask. Never hurts to do so.
No?
Also, oh, sorry. Go ahead, sir.
I was just gonna say no, it doesn't.
Do you have anything in black?
He'll snap his fingers, and then like all the gnomes will kind of like hup to back out, pulling all of the stuff off the floor, and then bringing out like a different ensemble. He'll say like, "These are some of the finest wares from Ravenshaw."
Oh, Ravenshaw, you say?
Yes, well, quite a bit of a shady, more backstabby area, if you will. And most of them tend to take more of the darker clothing. As you can see here,
Well,
the nice black to match the night, and no buttons or indication to give reflections from the moon as well.
ooh, I like it. I do say, though, black does not always mean bad, because sometimes it is better to sit back from the crowd and observe, and being camouflaged is never a bad thing while doing that. And I do love to sit back from the crowd and observe at times because I feel like you find the most information that way.
Yes, blending into your environment always does help.
Yes.
Sure,
How
it's
much
a
would this
bit-
be?
These clothes are 25 gold for the ensemble.
For black. Interesting.
Yes, just fine clothes, not handed down from a little bit of how you would say off the bow of the ship.
Well, I'll take them. But no accessories, please.
All right, you can go ahead and add some fine black clothes to your inventory, just minus the gold.
Black clothes from Ravenshaw is what it's going to say. What else can you tell me about Ravenshaw while I'm here? Or would that also be another handout?
That would also be a good little handout.
Okay. Okay.
The two things that you've asked about are like where I have like two major stories planned.
Ooh, okay. I'm
So
just
there's
curious.
quite a bit of detail.
Okay. Well, I do appreciate your hospitality here, and Burton, was it? Terry from the stables. He bids you a fair hello.
Ah. I'll make sure to stop by this evening and give him a hello as well and check in on that old dwarf and see how he's doing.
Ah, yes, you should. He recommended you very highly, and he thinks quite highly of you as well.
Anything for the old man in the back?
Ah. So, how long have you lived here?
Oh, about 25 years.
My goodness. You've all lived here for quite a long time. You must know of Ragdar, then.
Everybody knows Bragdar.
Ah. And you must know of the others from the guild as well.
Yes, not personally, but their reputations precede them nonetheless.
Ah, do you ever dress them?
No, I wouldn't be so lucky.
Ah. Where would you say they get their clothes from?
All over the world. I've recently
My.
heard that Sir Riffin has had a special item created from Vala. But I'm not sure exactly what it is.
Ah. A special item, you say?
Yes.
Now, how did you come to know about this?
Oh. Word of mouth. Travels fast.
Ah. I'm sure you couldn't tell me who, of course. You know, protecting our sources and whatnot.
Just overheard it in the taverns.
Ah. So it's a rumor.
Yes, anything to do with the guild spreads like fire through Lahles. Everyone's quite taken with them.
I would suppose so, since they protect everyone around here.
That's why most tend to stay.
Well, once again I do appreciate your help with these clothes. Perhaps I shall call upon you again in the future. You have been most hospitable.
Yes, and here, the wares for the old man. And he'll snap his fingers, and all the gnomes will come up and out and grab all the black clothes out, and then some others will begin to set out like walkers and nightgowns. Anything to your liking?
Man.
Oh, goodness. He's got the jokes.
I got a lovely
perhaps.
ensemble of nightcaps here for you.
Oh, no.
But what
Oh,
we'll do
no.
is we'll go ahead and just cut back to those at the tower. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think we've done enough joking around with that, and
Yeah,
but I did want to get that.
and
in
I got
there.
my info.
That's
And
good.
as you all, well, the other three of you kind of make your way back to the tower. The doors will be closed. It'll be probably about 2:30. Let me just double check. Yeah, 2:30 in the afternoon, about this time when you make your way back to the tower, and the doors are closed.
So that's me and
That is Trace, Krev, and
Thank
Kadir.
you.
Sorry.
Bless you.
Yes.
I cast light on my dagger and then like do the thing where I, like wave it in front of the where the text is supposed to be.
Hey, you revealed the message, and it says, "Pure at heart and free of sin, you can gain the knowledge within."
And I try to enter.
And when you place your hand upon the door, it moves open.
And I enter.
The others follow along.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, just double checking. So, once each of you are inside, and you're kind of met with that nice bit of silence breaking away from the busy city of Lahles, you or all three of you hear a bit of sound coming from upstairs. Will all three of you roll me a perception check, please?
Only if you ask nicely.
Made sure to include please that time, since that's what you said last time. So,
20.
Kadir, you're quite just like enthralled, like you're maybe more just thinking about like getting right back to your book, and you just hear like a bit of the sound coming from upstairs, but you don't really pay much mind to it. Trace and Krev, you both hear it as a bit more of like a ruckus, like an unsettling amount of like footsteps above, knowing that only the two goblins are supposed to be here. It seems like things are kind of crashing coming down from the second floor. Or the sounds are coming down from the second floor. Not like
Is
items.
Jade okay? Is
I don't
Jade
know.
okay?
You left them on the table on the second floor.
Oh, I'll rush to Jade.
You make your way up, Trace, up to the second floor where each of you had breakfast and kind of you set Jade upon the table to keep an eye on the goblins. You'll see Jade just staring at the goblins. And like when you look over to see the goblins, you'll see them both kind of like hidden up on shelves and like kind of chattering their teeth and seeming like to be in like a bit of fear, trying to get as far away as from Jade as possible. And
Really?
oh goodness! Thank goodness you're back! Snake evil.
I look at them for a moment. Good snake. And I take the
No, not good
Jade out
snake.
of the
Snake evil.
good snake.
Kill snake.
No,
Yes.
no,
Yes.
no,
Yes.
no. I take Jade out of the glass and pet the snake.
Jade will kind of like curl around your fingers and just kind of cozy herself up, wrapping herself up around your arm.
And I look at the two goblins. Not dangerous. Cute.
No. Kill.
No. And I walk away from them.
But at that point, Krev and Kadir, you would have heard the bit of commotion as they were shouting just kill at Trace.
What's going on up here?
Trace just says goblins and leaves.
Yeah, it sounds like they're freaking out. What's going on?
Snake
I was-
bad.
Snake? Are there yuan tea here?
Dat snake. And they'll like point to Jade kind of wrapped around Trace's arm as he's like begun to make his way across the room.
You know that's not the same kind of snake, right?
You all said snake bad?
Snake people are bad.
The goblins will kind of like look at each other. Yeah?
That's not a snake person, that's just a normal snake. Little snake.
Snake bad. You know get. Where Venus?
I'm assuming he's in town with Ragnar.
Kill Snake. We hide up here. And then like you'll see them put like bowls on like the top of their head and arm themselves with spoons.
Yes, perhaps I would suggest, Trace, that you. I forgot my accent. Perhaps, Trace, I would suggest that you keep Jade in your room, perhaps? You know, for the children.
Sure.
I would shudder to think what would happen if she got loose. Yes? The chaos, I'm sure, would ensue. This tower would
Indeed.
burn down, I'm sure.
Trace laughs.
The
So,
goblins will still be like chattering with fear, like up in like the corner, hidden, arming themselves with some silverware and plates.
I had a question for you. Was it ever established how long it would take for to gain medium armor and shield proficiencies?
I think that I had looked at it, and
Or if you wanted to go like the full length of time
it
that
does
that
take.
Xanathar's mentioned?
Yeah, it does take a shitload of time from Xanathar's.
It does, yeah.
The training. I just wanted to make sure at least 10 work weeks. So like the training and stuff. I mean, obviously, I look at it more as like if you're like training yourself like how to like read in like a different language, you can kind of like do that progressively over time.
Yeah.
But like more so of like the 10 work weeks is like once you guys kind of like complete whatever you're doing, then maybe taking like a year downtime and then before like adventuring again.
Got it. So you wouldn't
For-
suggest doing it in like a long like during long rests or anything like that?
I mean, I would suggest doing it, but be really committed into remembering that like you're starting it, because like if you break the pattern, then obviously it's not going to work. So, or it's going to take
Also,
longer. Not that it's not going to work,
is
that it's going to take longer.
does 10 work weeks assume like what if you do something that's particularly strenuous and strenuous instead?
In the aspect of what? Like training in like sword fighting, or
Like so the I was thinking about training with the gobos. And because I don't really need a long rest, I mean I wouldn't have to worry about taking it easy, like actually be willing to. And I can't
Yeah,
do
but
battle, but I could throw myself into it, not like trying to hurt them or
one
asking.
would assume that with the extended rules we use for resting, you would get exhausted if you don't take a long rest.
I don't know if that applies with the grit
I mean, you
rules.
sleep during a short rest.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
still
I'm not
sleeping.
doing exhaustion with not taking a long rest. It's as long as you get your short rest in, then you don't have to worry about it. Like if you
Yeah.
were to stay up like days on end, then that'd be something to take in effect. But with doing the gritty and implicating exhaustion on long rest,
It's just kind of weird because like a warlock, like he never has to take a long rest, right? I mean, he should be forced to take a long rest at times.
I am. Once I
I'm
run out
just
of
saying
short
that,
rest dice.
yeah, like he's got like a certain amount of dice. It's well, like you said before, warlocks are broken.
I totally disagree, but I've only played like 5.
Yeah,
but I've only always played warlocks.
but in this set, I think they're more broken than they normally be. But yeah, it makes sense.
They're a better class to choose. Yes.
I get two
honest-
spells. I get 2 spell slots to level 10. Let's calm down.
Yeah, that's awful. Yeah, that. oh.
You're the most broken
Yeah.
class. But yes, that would be
Warlocks,
something that
honestly, I
you
think
can
need to
do.
be buffed.
You can train with the goblins.
Yeah.
It doesn't even necessarily have to be like strenuous. Like you could go over and like research spells, things that the casters would do. Maybe like they can teach you new spells, stuff that they know.
I guess would it potentially take less time to learn medium armor if I did do strenuous training, or like if I did push myself?
It's not going to take more or less time. The only difference would be is that you're just not going to get like the long rest within 7 days.
All right.
Like
in
it
that
would
case,
take
never
away
mind.
your implication for that.
All right, never mind. I'll just read.
All right, and what about the other two? What are Krev and Trace doing?
I'm learning common.
I'm gonna be looking at the book of beasts.
Okay. Well, will all three of you give me intelligence checks, please?
Just straight intelligence.
Yep.
Wow.
Ooh.
Nice. So,
Neat.
uh,
I'm looking at pictures. I don't need to read really. So
yeah.
it's-
You guys look over. Krev's sitting there with like a pop-up book. He's like, "Oh!" Claps his hands every time it's a new creature.
and he goes like the chicken says moo. Oh wait, that's wrong.
So, Krev, you're gonna have to roll me a d6, please. Kadir and Trace, your day goes off without any issues.
Awesome.
So, as you're trying to do like your studies, Krev, since you have more of like a picture book, as mentioned before, that's one of the goblins' favorite ones. They're gonna be like hanging all over you, kind of like covering your eyes, making it a little bit harder for you to see some of the pictures. And they'll
Uh-huh.
just be like, "Ooh, look at that one! That one cool! That cool! Can you make that one? Can you do this? Huh? Oh, flip page! And they're
Mhm.
just kind of annoying you, and you don't seem to be able to like get a moment's peace. You do get a
Sure.
few pictures, but maybe not as many as you would have wished. But the other two, no problem. You go out on with your studies for the night without any issue.
Well, I mean, I have protection from goblins as long as I have D8 with me, so I'm good.
This is true. They're not going anywhere near that snake.
Or they might just stand around you saying, "Oh, kill the snake! Kill the snake!" You know.
True.
I mean, I could easily see them tossing rocks at it, like trying to push the jar off a ledge or something.
Oh, that would
But
suck.
so, I was about to say Jade, Onyx, and Rekid, you can make your way back to the tower, and the door will be closed, just as it was for the others.
I will take your arm, Rekid, as we walk.
Ah, very good. Because I don't think I can do the thing for this.
The thing.
Yeah, the magic or what have you.
Ah, you don't need magic to impress me. You're quite the man yourself.
Oh, I was speaking of the light thing. I'm sorry. I forget the details now. Old age.
Ah, yes. Ah, I remember what you mean now. I'm sure the boys will let us in whenever we get there.
Yes, let us go.
So, while we're traveling, why don't we have a talk? So, where are you from?
So I don't actually have those details
Oh,
planned out.
it's sorry.
Then
That's
make them up.
okay.
A
Record
land,
comes from unknown lands.
a
Ah,
land of
okay.
no names.
Well, in any case, what did you do before this? You said that, you were at a monastery, right? There were monks?
Yes, I lived amongst other monks. It was a fine life, but I felt I could be doing more good in the world with the skills I had instead of being cloistered away from the rest of the world.
Ah, good man. Put your hands to better use, I suppose.
Yes, let others catch these hands.
Yes. Are you excited about the tournament, or how do you feel about it?
Exhilarating. I
Ah,
can't wait to see how it goes. Even if I, well, get pummeled, it'll still be fun.
why, I believe if you aren't pummeled in a battle, it's not a good battle to have fought in.
Very true.
Hmm. Well, you seem quite nice for a monk.
Well, thank you. I'm still experiencing what the world has to offer, but you may have seen some of that at the various taverns we've been to in the short amount of time as a group.
Ah, yes, I have noticed you do like your drink.
It was probably the first pleasure of the world I decided to chase, and I guess I'm still chasing it.
Perhaps when we get back, you could show those goblins a thing or two.
Oh, like with drink or
Oh no, the
the
training.
punchy kicks?
They
Ah,
the what was his name again? Renus. Renus. Ah, yes, Renus. Um, he did mention their training. I'd love to see you assist.
that could be fun.
Yes, I do love to see you use your fists.
I can kick too,
Oh,
and
brilliant.
headbutt. Well, I'd rather not headbutt, but that's an option.
Yes, you want to keep your noggin about your shoulders, I suppose.
Huh.
Are we almost there, Kyle?
Oh yeah, you guys will make your way to the door. Like I said,
Oh,
it
okay.
was shut.
Oh, yes. Um, 1 second. Um, I don't have light
Well,
though. So unfortunately, I do not have light. Um,
we could
I
try
shall
knocking.
knock upon the door.
Ah, yes.
I knock upon the door, Kyle.
We don't want any.
No one asked you.
Stay
small
away.
So when you knock upon the door, will everyone inside the tower give me a perception check? You guys are on the second floor, so please roll it at disadvantage.
Can I choose to fail?
I'm in my room though, so I guess I can't hear anything, right?
Well, that's why I'm doing disadvantage.
Okay. I have a high perception though. Oh, never mind.
No, you guys
Oh, we all got 8s.
here. to be to be quite honest, like I rolled a 1 and a 2 for me, but that equals with their proficiencies an 8 and a 9. So that's 4 8s. Glad I could be part of the club. Um,
Hell yeah.
everyone just kind of like hears like a bit of like banging and stuff going about like inside, and each of you presume it just to be like the goblins still building up like their fort.
What's the door made of?
Wood, and it has some steel brackets on it, like going across it as well.
Time to go get your horse. You know what you must do.
Do I see any open windows by any chance?
To the window.
I mean, no. It would be quite a sight for you, actually. Like once you're kind of appearing for windows, like seeing that there's like none upon like this tower, and like knowing that there was like forms of light coming from inside, you kind of like think to yourself like, well, I didn't see like any torches. So what may this light be coming from?
Could I investigate?
Yes, you can,
Or
but it will be very difficult from outside.
oh, that's right. You said the lights were on the inside that you're talking about, right?
Yeah, like I was just saying, like it was
Okay.
like an inner dialogue thought.
Oh, okay, I understand. Never mind then. Well, you mentioned some interest in seeing my punching ability. I will go to Flurry of Blows the door.
All right, give me
The
your
door-
attack rolls.
The door rolls initiative.
Door has a nat 20 on initiative. Let's do this.
So, does
It
the door count
uses
as
lock.
restrained because it can't move? Or perhaps
I
even
mean-
paralyzed? It is held in place.
I would consider the DC for the door to be very low, but not below a 23, so you miss. But yeah, like when you hit the door, you'll feel like a bit of resistance, but like once you do, like the door will just like kind of like push it like open.
Oh. The door was unlocked.
Yep.
Oh, silly me. Rule number 1, check
Well,
to
I
see
mean,
if
as
the
long as
door
you
is
guys
locked.
pass the, being pure of heart and everything, and you guys haven't done anything, what I would
Good to
consider to
know.
be evil.
I did just assault this door. Oh,
I
well.
mean, to be fair, all that mindless man on door violence nowadays.
So, but you all can enter the tower as well, and then that's where we'll go ahead and call it, as it's nearing 6 p.m. on April the 2nd, and then you all can decide what to do for the rest of the night. Wreck-It and Onyx, you can decide what to do for the rest of your night at the beginning of next week.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's where we'll pick it up then, as you all bust in the door quite heroically, standing with your superhero poses, as the door kind of just like creaks open, like.
just bust in, like,
Oh,
just bust in and be like, guess who just bought a horse? This guy.
guess who just destroyed our main door? That guy.
Also this guy.
It's like, it was definitely that guy over there on the other side of the street. Get him. Finds out it's a Wanty. Shit. Roll initiative. So normally, with long rests, do those normally go by quickly or slowly for you, Kyle?
It really depends on like what you guys want to do. But we'll talk about that a little bit. Just like off stream, I'll answer that question for you. Does
Alright,
anyone have
cool.
anything that they'd like to shout out before we get out of here for the evening?
Game tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. We're moving up an hour early.
Yes.
Moving from 9 to
Friday
8.
night sessions will now be from 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time till 12 a.m.
Nice.
Switching it from a 3-hour to a 4-hour session, since my players yelled at me and begged and pleaded, and each sent me $200 on the DL, and I extended it by an hour.
Wow, I can't even get a sandwich for being a DM.
Gotta get
Jesus.
that.
Just fine.
You
Gotta-
get plenty for being a dim. What do you mean? You get my help.
Gotta set up an
And
only
that's
DM.
priceless.
Only DMs.
Boy. Oh man, that's a different thing.
Well,
That's a dangerous
anybody
life you live,
else?
Christian. Man, all I want to do is talk about Icewind Dale, but I'm not going to do that. It's
I was gonna say that's not gonna be a stream, is it?
no,
No.
it's not. But it is fucking hype.
Oh yeah. Oh no, yeah, I'm excited for Saturday too.
I can't wait.
I'm
People,
just curious if it was a stream.
one of my players in chat goes, "Wait, we can pay you off. Why didn't you say this before? Or why didn't you say that earlier?"
It's like, am I allowed to buy levels? The original DLC. Pay for play.
Well, I know you, Rekid, have definitely gained a couple of followers on your podcast because me and my wife have both followed. I don't know if you gotten any.
Oh,
others, but,
awesome.
I've downloaded
That's
a few of the
awesome.
episodes. Been catching up on the Joe Rogan podcast though, because I know that these next couple episodes are good, and I love Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah, his
Gotcha.
stuff's pretty good.
But if no one else has anything to shout out, we can go ahead and wrap it up.
Yes.
All right. Thanks for watching, y'all.
Have a
All right,
wonderful
thank you,
evening.
everybody. I appreciate everyone being here, returning, checking in on the stories, everything that's going on. Game tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Like we were saying just earlier, it has been moved up an hour beforehand, extending the game to 4 hours. Other than that, just go ahead and check down the schedule below if you're curious of other game times. Make sure to drop a follow for more D&D content and also some, I'll call it quote-unquote fun time divinity content as well.
Yes.
Where we all, well, mainly myself, Onyx, Kadir, and Krev kind of just rag on each other while we play Divinity.
Yeah.
Accurate.
Yeah, we just crack jokes for essentially 4.5 hours.
It's always a
And,
good time.
yeah, I always leave the computer kind of like with happy tears in my eyes from laughing too much. But nonetheless, everyone have a good night. I appreciate everyone, like I said, everyone who came back to check everything out that's going on. Next week for Business in Lahles, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, PM. If anything changes in the schedule, I'll post updates. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Take care. Be well.
Night. Bye.
Happy